I'm talking about the dream that you put in a box and you're waiting for the perfect day. Don't do that. There is no perfect day. And right now, break the glass and take your dream out and share it with the world. Start putting your dream out now. There's no guarantee of tomorrow. And I'm not even saying that because of coronavirus. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, run for the hills. I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying it like this is a wake-up call to the fact that every day is no guarantee. And that's the gift that losing Derek and my brother did for me. Was it really did. It passed after I got past the extreme trauma and heartbreak. When I started to reemerge, the one thing that was pretty clear to me was I'm not going to do a bunch of bullshit. I'm not going to go work in some piece of shit job I cannot stand and just say, oh, well, I couldn't do the other stuff. I will figure out how to do the thing that's in my heart. I'll do whatever I have to do what's in my heart. I'll take shit jobs just to do what's in my heart. I'll do whatever I have to do what's in my heart because I believe I'm here to do that thing that's in my heart. And it is not easy. It's not easy at all. Matter of fact, it's the most afraid and most stressed out I've probably ever been because everything's on the line. It's so much more intense, but it's so much more worth it too.
Live from Los Angeles, California, this is The Lisa Murray Show. And with your host, Lisa Murray.
The day I felt like I really started living.
I don't have enough money to start this business.
I'm so tired. I hate it. I'm working all the time.
I'm not inspired when I'm worried about money.
Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all.
I'm so sick of all these positive people talking about dreams. What about money? Like, how am I supposed to get the money?
What it's really about, it's about you pursuing what makes you come alive. It's about continually connecting with that energy and just keep doing that. Keep going towards that. That's what it's about. You need to give up. There's too many obstacles. I can't take this shit anymore. Ships are safe in the harbor, but that's not what ships are built for.
It feels really good to be my own boss.
I have dreams, damn it!
Hi, everybody. How are you doing? We're in a very strange time. I'm recording with my dogs around me, so if you hear weird sounds, breathing, scratching, drinking water, I apologize ahead of time, but, this whole sheltering in place thing is real, and I do have my podcast anywhere, Kit, so I am podcasting anywhere for sure. So I just wanted to check in with you, and I also wanted to tell you a couple stories about some things that I went through, which is kind of what I always do here. And, I don't have a script when I do this podcast. And my goal with this is just to tell stories from my heart and to share my experiences because it goes back to our roots as human beings and standing around the campfire and sharing our stories about the hunt we went on or a time when there was a drought or when, we couldn't get food for a week or two, whatever. And these stories are what keeps us going. The next generation, the next group of people that are listening, they hear these stories and they learn what they need to learn from it. And so that's my goal with this podcast. I really believe in the power of storytelling, and it's just transformational. And so for me, having gone through what I went through, I just feel like there's got to be something to it in terms of, and even if there's not in some greater meaning, I'm going to make it because I need to have meaning in my life. And if I don't have meaning in my life, I can't go forward. And I don't even know how people do. Like I see people out there living lives and they don't think about anything bigger. And that's fine if that works for them. But I literally cannot live that life. I tried to live that life and I feel like it almost killed me. I was depressed all the time. I always thought about death. Like I just wanted to die. I didn't think about death. That's not the right way to say it. I wanted to die because I felt like if I'm going to be here, why am I here in this way where I'm not really digging deeper and I'm not really doing anything bigger? It just always bothered me to just be here going along with the motions. It really upsets me. And I can't help it. It's who I am. And I've always tried to hide that. Like, I never wanted to say, oh, I wanted to die. Because then people are like, oh, don't you realize the value of life? Yeah, I do. That's why I wanted to die. And it's like, I never wanted to be judged for all the things that I actually was. But I'm telling you, something like facing a life and death situation, which I was after Derek and Michael died, that it clarifies who you really are. And this whole situation with coronavirus, it's a life and death situation collectively, and for some people individually. And I don't know anybody that has coronavirus. I have not lost anybody to coronavirus up to this point. But, collectively, I'm hearing about it on the news. I'm seeing it on social media. So I can feel it in the air. I can feel that there's life and death, or at least the thought of life and death in the air. And finally, I'm like, okay, this is something I can really speak to you on because, it clarifies. It really does. And it can really make you unhappy for a long time when it's starting to clarify, because some of those extra things that are in our lives, they distract us on purpose. So we're all collectively feeling the life and death energy in the air, whether we're conscious of it or not. And what that does is it clarifies things, especially in a quarantine in this very unique and rare situation. I mean, never in my wildest dreams did I ever think there'd be something that we would collectively go through as an entire planet. Like the humans. The animals have no idea what's going on. But the humans, we are so united right now in stress, in fear maybe, in maybe some people don't believe that this is even real. There's so many different things. But the point is, we're all thinking about and orbiting around the same topic. Okay. And so this is like unbelievable. And then the quarantine is going to bring up, plus the deaths, a lot of grief. We're grieving our old way of life. We're grieving the plans that we made for April, May, June, July. I can't even, I've got my film festival, Ag and Art Film Festival, happening in September, and I'm not even sure if it's going to happen because everyone's saying, who knows what's going to happen whenever this ban gets lifted, when the quarantine gets lifted. So it's very stressful because right now I'd be really in the thick of planning the festival. I can't even plan it. And for an event like that, you have to plan it far in advance. So I may have to do a completely different festival, which I'll get to that later. But more importantly, what this time does for us, or any kind of thing where you're facing life and death, is it clarifies the landscape. It clarifies who you are. It clarifies what's important to you and what's really going on. Because all those other things in our lives are like, embellishments, schedules, plans, coffee meetings, outfits that you're going to wear, getting your hair done, getting the car serviced, planning for a trip where you're going to take, all those things they're great, but they're all like distractors too. They distract us from a lot of stuff. And when all that stuff is frozen, which if you've had someone die in your life, especially if it's someone very significant or there's a lot of trauma around the death, all those things stop. So it's like what I went through when Derek died, because, he was potentially murdered. We're not sure what happened. He's run over by a train. There's so much to it. And I was trying to help him get away from a person, and it was very, very stressful. I was trying to help him, and I felt like he just fell off, like I was holding his hand and he was hanging off the Golden Gate Bridge and he fell off into the darkness. I was so traumatized by his death because he was so close to me and everything, that it was like a big light bulb went on in my life. Everything was lit up. Every schedule I had, every item of furniture, or like my animals and my friends, my family, all my thoughts, everything was illuminated. And I'm not saying this is going to happen to you or whatever, but this is what happened to me. And so hopefully maybe you can learn something from what happened to me. So it was like this light went off and I saw everything in my life so clearly. And I could even see who was really there for me. And not just in the sense of like, well, they brought me cookies on last Wednesday. No, like really the way they look at me, I can tell that they think about me and they care about me. And also I could tell who had lost someone before. So with this podcast, I don't have a script. I literally just talk from my heart and I express stories. I share with you my stories. And I don't like scripts. I don't like anything like that. Sometimes I'll have a bulleted list, but not even really. I mean, I think I've only done that like 2 times. And really, it's just I get a feeling about a topic and it won't go away. And even when I'm driving around and talking to people, I can feel that topic. And the one that I felt for this episode, in which I'm really excited to be talking to you right now because it's like a release finally to be able to share with you. You know how there's like an axe or a fire hydrant inside of a glass box and it says, in case of emergency, break the glass? Well, if your dream is in a glass box because you're waiting for the perfect day to enact it, roll it out, do it, share it, whatever, guess what? It's time to break the glass. We're in an emergency situation and it's time to let it out and break the glass. Open it up. Like, let it out. The world needs what you have. And tomorrow's not guaranteed. As some of you may know, I released my film, as I mentioned in the last episode, Soul Providers, Los Angeles, which is a documentary that I made it was originally supposed to be a docuseries. It still is. But I took 5 of the 10 subjects and put it into a feature film. Well, you can watch that right now for the month of April on my on YouTube for free. And my YouTube channel is youtube.com/Lisa Murray. And Soul Providers is there. And it's just a film. It's about 53 minutes. And it's about 5 artists living and working in Los Angeles, documentary, just asking them questions like when we talk about here, like what gets you through your dark days, what's your creative process, and stuff like that. So if you're interested in checking that out, definitely during the month of April, I'm leaving it on my YouTube channel. And the reason why I did that, it screened last September at the Valley Film Festival in North Hollywood. And I was so excited to get into that festival because I love that festival. I was like, wanting to have it be perfect. And someone actually just asked me not too long ago, they said, yeah, so what's going on with your film? And I said, well, I need to edit 2 episodes together. So I have 10 subjects and I'm going to edit 2 of them together into, different episodes. So it'll be a 5-episode series, I guess, of Los Angeles. And I want to edit that together. And then I wasn't sure where I wanted to pitch that and have that live, because then I'm going to be doing other cities. And I've already started filming some people in Northern California. But so they asked me that and I thought, that's a long way out. And plus I've been seeing people are sad and scared and depressed. And then I'm seeing on my feed people doing crafts and art more than ever. Like people who normally don't do art are now doing art. And that makes me very happy because they're being expressive. That's our nature, is to be creative. And going to work every day and doing all these things and being so busy goes against our nature. So to see people living in their nature makes me very, very happy. But so I was thinking about it and I'm like, I'm not going to hoard my film. Like I'm going to literally put it out online because I just want to share it. That's the whole reason why I created it. That's the whole reason why I created it, was so that I could share it. And so why am I not sharing it? Like I'm waiting for the perfect distribution model. Like, who have I become? Like, I get it. I'm a business person. I'm trying to figure that out. But I have to be an artist at some point. That has to be something that's, really important to me, because that was the essence why I even created it. And I remember even when a year after Derek died, I started getting a feeling to be creative again. And when this idea of this film came to me, I was like, okay, I'll do it, but I don't want any thoughts about distribution or any of that part of my brain that's like a producer. I don't want that. I just, I was literally like a person eating applesauce and drawing in a coloring book at that point. I just needed to start from zero and just be creative again and just connect with that part of myself without thinking about any other thing. But that's it. So I did, and I filmed it, and the rest is another story. But the point is, it was about art. It was about my art and my creativity. And instead of always wanting it to be perfect, that was my first finished documentary, like full feature documentary. But it's like, so I put a lot of pressure on myself. That's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. If you keep your dream inside of a box, a glass box, and you keep it up on a shelf, you put so much pressure on it. Like it can never live up to what you're doing to it. It's too much. And you're never going to feel fulfilled because there's no way that putting that out is going to, like, once you do it in this way that you think is going to be so perfect, there's no way you're going to get back. I mean, really, it just isn't like, what's the point? Unless maybe you're making Avatar, the movie Avatar, like with all the sci-fi, or what do you call it? Just the cool effects and stuff. Like that might be worth, holding out on, but he's not like he's sitting on the film waiting for something. He's actually actively doing something all the time. Granted, he's a millionaire. I know there's a lot of other levels to that. But the point is some stuff just takes longer, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the dream that you put in a box and you're waiting for the perfect day. Don't do that. There is no perfect day. And right now, break the glass and take your dream out and share it with the world. Start putting your dream out now. There's no guarantee of tomorrow. And I'm not even saying that because of coronavirus. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, run for the hills. I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying it like this is a wake-up call to the fact that every day is no guarantee. And that's the gift that losing Derek and my brother did for me. Was it really did. It passed after I got past the extreme trauma and heartbreak. When I started to reemerge, the one thing that was pretty clear to me was I'm not going to do a bunch of bullshit. I'm not going to go work in some piece of shit job I cannot stand and just say, oh, well, I couldn't do the other stuff. I will figure out how to do the thing that's in my heart. I'll do whatever I have to do what's in my heart. I'll take shit jobs just to do what's in my heart. I'll do whatever I have to do what's in my heart because I believe I'm here to do that thing that's in my heart. And it is not easy. It's not easy at all. Matter of fact, it's the most afraid and most stressed out I've probably ever been because everything's on the line. It's so much more intense, but it's so much more worth it too. The positive side of it is when it's good, or even in the worst possible day, even when I'm so stressed out and I'm like, my God, how do people do this? And I'm in awe of all the freelance workers out there or business owners. You never know whether you're going to get work or you're going to get customers or whatever next. And so even when you're working with one, you're thinking about what's next. And if you have a whole bunch, you're grateful, but then you're just trying to I don't know, it's like this weird thing. You're always trying to hope you have work. And so there's this whole psychology of that. And I want to explore that more in this podcast in future episodes. If you're dealing with that, or if you're going to be dealing with that, you're going to want to talk about that because I know I'm dealing with that and I have been for a while. And I'm in awe of the amount of trust you have in humanity, in the world, in yourself, in the universe, in God, whatever you want to call it, to be a business owner, to be an entrepreneur, I keep saying entrepreneur, but like a freelance worker. Like you really are trusting that there's going to be work. But when you go to work for a company, you're trusting that the company is going to be there. You're trusting that when you go to work, that it's going to be there and that nothing bad's going to happen. You're going to have your job. Even though you may hate it and you have to deal with people you don't like or whatever the situation is, as long as you show up, you'll have your insurance and you'll have your paycheck, right? I had a job one time where I was mail sorting. I mean, it was weird. It was in a warehouse. And I think it was when I was going to school and I was just like, whatever, I just need this job because I need money. And I remember one day I showed up and there was a note on the door that said, and it was very early in the morning and it said closed. And there was a guy standing out front, pissed off. And I go, what's going on? He's like, they're done. They closed down. And I go, are we going to get paid? And he's like, I don't know, probably not. And I was young. So I just was like, and I had worked there. I earned money and I didn't get it. And I went home. How is that different? I gave my faith to this company and the company had a problem and they probably didn't handle it right. I probably could have gotten something from it, but I didn't. I didn't get any money from that. I mean, I had gotten paid previously, but I didn't get paid that time when they shut down. Other times people get laid off just because the companies needs to have layoffs. You think people expect that? You think because you've worked somewhere for 17 years or even 35 years that they're going to, be like, no, we cannot lay Shelley off. No, they will lay Shelley off. And it's because it's financial. It's about the business surviving. And so there really isn't any secure thing anywhere, really. It's just an illusion of the security. And you'll ride that wave as long as you can until the wave kicks you off. Then you'll deal with it, right? But I'm just going to tell you, like, literally, if you're given an opportunity right now because of the world situation, if you've been kicked off of that wave, if your company has downsized or let you go or whatever's going on, maybe you still don't know yet, this is an opportunity for you to do something different. And I know it's going to be a bumpy road. It's not going to be smooth and it's not going to be easy. But this is an opportunity for you to do something different and to do the thing that you really want to do. And you can take this time to really get in touch with yourself and think about who you really are and what is the thing that you've always wanted to do. And why do you think you've always wanted to do it? Where do you think that comes from? Have you ever thought about that? Where does that come from? I think it's weird. Like when I think about the things that I want to do, and you might have, of course, we probably have more than one thing you want to do. But like in general, like I want to rescue horses. I don't, but I'm saying I mean, I do too. But like, where does that feeling come from? Why do you have that feeling and I don't? I want to make films, not just documentaries, because I also have other stories and scripts I've written. I don't know, there's like a lot of things that I want to do, but that's part of it. It's like, I know that I want to be in a creative field. I know I love doing like videos. I love doing kind of like websites and social media consultation. Yeah, I love all that kind of stuff. Image editing, just being creative, marketing. I love that. But that's not my dream. That's just something I love. And that's sort of like in the direction of what I want to go towards. So it's like, it's always about checking in. And I think what I really love, I love helping people and I love connecting story to other people. On my new podcast, Death Talk Podcast, where I talk about death and dying, it's not depressing. It's actually very inspiring. And all I do on that one is I interview people. It's interview only. And then I have a segment called My Death Story, where people can either write in a death story that I'll read, or they can send me an audio file and I'll have it it's less than 10 minutes. And it's just a story where death has touched their life in one way or the other, but significantly. And it's such an inspiring podcast. It's so odd because it's like, wow, really? And also it's the most lively group, but that's a whole nother topic. But it's really interesting how lively the death positive movement is. And it's just like really trying to embrace that aspect of life instead of being afraid of it and wanting to ignore it and be like, I don't want to think about it. What if you thought about it? What if you allowed yourself to just think about it and incorporate that in to the rest of your life? And for me, I had to be forced to think about it. I mean, I kind of thought about it a little bit. If I look back, in all honesty, I mean, I think for a long time, I always kind of thought about it in a way, but I think I pushed it away too. And then when Derek and Michael died and other people died, there were a bunch of people that died during that time. Michael B. from Paramount Pictures, he died. I can't believe he died. He died more recently. Alex and Nene that I met at DKG Music, he was shot and killed in the laundry room. I mean, I loved Alex. He was an amazing spirit and powerful being. And Will Norton from YouTube, that was actually the one that kicked off the death cluster for me. If you're a YouTuber, Google Will Norton. he used to come to all my live shows. I did live shows every week, and he'd comment on all my videos on YouTube. And he was just really supportive. And he was like 16 or something. And I thought, well, he must be messing with me. He really is a nice guy. And he went to college. He sent me a really nice email, and he said, I just want you to know that I had a choice of colleges, either stay home, close to my home in Missouri, or follow my dream of being a filmmaker. And because of you, I'm going to follow my dream of being a filmmaker. So he applied to USC and he got in. And so he was coming in town for the, the orientation or something. And he wanted to meet with me. And I remember I was really busy. I was doing all my music industry stuff with Dapo and whatever I was doing. And I felt very important, whatever it was. And he wanted to meet with me. And I was like, oh, I'll meet with him next time. He's going to live out here anyways, And then he went back to Missouri. He did his high school graduation. And then after the graduation ceremony, they were having I think he has a younger sister, I know he has a sister, but I can't remember if she's younger or older. But they were driving back. So the sister and the mom were in the car in the front. And then he was driving a Hummer and his dad was in the passenger seat. They were driving from the ceremony back to their house because they were going to have a graduation party there. And then he was going to move to California and go to USC and pursue filmmaking. And then I would have had lunch with him, and I would have probably met with him like once every couple months and checked in with him, and we would have been BFFs, and I would have loved him forever. Well, a tornado happened, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was in 2011, and a tornado comes in and tears through Missouri. It was some strange thing, and he was actually ripped up through the sunroof, and it ripped his seatbelt. And his dad was trying to hold on to him, and he just went up into the tornado, and they could not find him for days. And I actually found out about it because I saw on CNN or something, or someone posted something about Will on Facebook or something, and I thought, what are they talking about? And then I turned on CNN, and Anderson Cooper is reporting about Will and about all these other people that they couldn't find. And I was like, what? And it was hard for me to know like how to mourn that, because I was like, do I even have a right to be upset? Or, you know what I mean? Like I talk about that in my Death Talk podcast, but he really, really touched me and really affected me, as he did many, many others, because he was a very positive kid. He was a very, very sweet, positive, wonderful person. And anyways, they ended up finding him. He was in water and he was covered with some debris, and they think he died instantly. So he hadn't been alive for a while or anything like that. But that was totally traumatic. And that's what really kicked off the death clusters for me. His death was the first one that woke me up. There were several others during that time, but I'm saying all this to just say that it was I could not escape death. And so me always kind of pushing it away, I think most of us do in our culture, we do. Because it's like, even bringing it up right now, I can almost feel people going, oh God, I don't want to hear about that. It's like, it's such a thing in our culture to like not talk about death, or to kind of whisper when you go, yeah, and then he passed away. I don't want to do that. I just want to talk openly and include it as I would anything else, because it's important that we embrace that for our development as people, to be fully conscious that we're here and that we're not always going to be here. And just wake up to that, and don't be on life support. Break the glass, take your dream out, and start working on it. And I'm here for you. This podcast is here for you. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. I'm like, this is Horton Hears a Who, and I'm, the mayor of Whoville with my microphone, or the scientist. I can't remember who it was, but I need to go read the book again, obviously. But the point is, I'm alone in my little tower, except it's not a tower, but a tower. And I'm talking, hoping somebody hears me. And so maybe you're that Horton, and you're going, I'm feeling something right now. I think I'm supposed to do this thing that I've been putting off, and I keep thinking that it doesn't really matter. Like, did you want to write a novel? Were you supposed to write and you just keep putting it off because you had kids or because you got advances at work or because you were waiting for a certain age? Like, what are you waiting for? You can't wait anymore, you know? And I'm not saying you have to like be all jacked up on, you know, caffeine and go out and get your dream and do all this crazy stuff. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just saying, even if you're just sitting with your dream, just sit with it. And by dream, I mean the thing that has been inside of you that you really want to do, whatever that is. Some people don't like the word dream, and I get it. So whatever that thing is that's inside of you that you always think about, or that you think it'd be cool if you did it, or I don't know, it's just sort of like this thing that never goes away. It's always in you. And then maybe you talk yourself out of it, or you say, yeah, but that's unrealistic, or whatever. That thing, take it out of the glass box, if you have it in a glass box, or in the drawer buried underneath everything, or in the garage underneath a whole bunch of boxes wrapped in newspaper. Wherever you have this dream that you've buried, I'm just suggesting you take it out right now. And I'm saying, even just sit with it. Put it up on the fireplace mantle in the family room where you watch TV. Put it next to your TV even. Put it next to your computer screen. Look at it. And then you'll know what to do next. But don't hide it. Don't bury it. And don't say you're going to get to it someday. Take it the MF out and live with it and look at it. Because it's there for a reason. You have a particular thing that's for you, and I have a particular thing that's for me. And nobody has the same exact thing. And that was really a revelation the day I realized that. I thought everybody wanted to do what I wanted to do. No, they don't. It's very unique. So why do I have this unique thing that I've always wanted to do? Then nobody else around me has that same thing. So maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. Maybe those are my instructions for this life. Maybe the gods or whatever, when I was born, they put that in me so that I would open it and I would become curious about it and I would try to figure it out instead of wrapping it in newspaper and burying it. That makes no sense, does it? Does that make any sense to you at all? So just remember, you know, you're here for a reason. Maybe part of that reason, there's a hint in it, in that thing that you've got inside of the glass box. So break the glass. I'll talk to you guys next week. Okay, so since you're sitting home and you have a lot of extra time, and now maybe you are reconnecting with your dream, I have on my website a social media strategy guide. It's for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. It's a free download. It basically is just, I show like little tips and tricks for each one, why you would want to post there, and little tips on what you need to know about posting there. So if you really just kind of want a brief overview, head over to IHaveDreamsDammit.com for that free download. And if you're looking for a little bit more than the free download, I also offer a social media consultation service where I can either teach you something that you want to know or give you an overview of your business and where I think you should focus your energy. So it's a really great investment for you. It's a great investment to your company, to your dream, to your art, to your service. And you can head over to IHaveDreamsDammit.com, and there is a page there for that. It's normally $150, and during this time, it's a $99. So what I would do is I would either go over anything you have a question about, but I would go over, we'd get on a Zoom call, and I'd also give you my recommendations for your particular goals. And I would tell you which social media you should focus on so that you don't waste your time on all of them. Just focus on the ones that are the most important for what you're trying to do, and give you some tips on those. And also, if you want training on how to go live, some tips on that, or some tips on stories, if you've not taken advantage of Instagram stories or Facebook stories, or how to link your Instagram and Facebook account, how to go live on YouTube, like all those kinds of things. If you have any kind of questions about any of that stuff, you can book me and we can have a little private session where I help you figure that stuff out. So head on over to IHaveDreamsDammit.com, and I hope to talk to you soon. All right, now I want you to be honest with me. Have you listened to every single episode of this podcast? Be honest. Have you listened to every episode? I knew it. I knew you didn't. Okay, it's okay. I created a bingo card sheet. I don't know what you call it. During social isolation time or social distancing isolation. It is isolation too. During social distancing time, it's a I Have Dreams Dammit binge listening bingo card sheet. So you can get all the episodes. It's all on the bingo sheet. And I have an idea. Pick up the sheet and look at all the different titles, and whatever one sort of jumps out at you, that's the one you should listen to first. If there's something about it, you just kind of go, that's what you should listen to. Listen to your little intuition. All right, thanks. And I look forward to seeing your filled out bingo sheets or cards. I'm not sure what do I call it? Sheets, cards? I don't know.